Hey guys, I'm Thomas McClellan from World Builder Studios, and I'm in the pinery at night. It's dark, wet, cold, and it got me thinking about telling a story from Guillermo Del Toro. In fact, his first movie, in a way, Cronos. Now, Guillermo Del Toro has always been an interesting filmmaker for me because he always has this very unique world connected with his story. It has a way of being both realistic and fantastical at the same time, which is no surprise given his strange upbringing. You see, he was the kind of guy, when he was a kid growing up in Mexico, he was the kind of kid that wanted horror movies focused on the monster, which wasn't really a thing at the time. In fact, he always wanted the creature from the Black Lagoon to get a girlfriend by the end of the movie, actually. Hint, hint, Shape of Water, just saying. But besides that, he also, he lived in an area where violence was kind of the norm in a way. Like, he was a guy that worked at a hospital, and his job was to bring the cadavers in. In fact, one day he saw a cadaver that had been shot in the face, and his eye had rolled back into his head. And what he did was just go and eat a sandwich. That kind of thing. But he's also said he considers himself wanted to be the loneliest atheist in a very Catholic country, considering that he grew up in Mexico. So now that we've talked about his upbringing, let's talk about the movie itself, Cronos. Cronos tells the tale of a man, Jesus Greyes, a pawn keeper who discovers a device, the Cronos device, that can grant immortality to whoever who uses it, but at a very terrible price. It turns you into somewhat of a vampire, I guess? It's hard to explain. Actually, weirdly enough, the word vampire in this movie is never once used, actually. It kind of reminds me of The Hunger, where they have these vampires, but nobody uses the word vampire in it. But besides that, we also get introduced to Jesus' family. We get his daughter Aurora and his wife, who seems rather young for him, in my opinion. But that might be the thing, because that's maybe why he's taking the Cronos thing, to extend his life, his sexual appeal, basically make himself younger. Interesting fact, there was a lot of nudity they had to cut from this, apparently, I've been told, from the American version. But that's irrelevant, because it shows what this device does to Jesus. It essentially drains him, because he's not the victim or the villain. He's essentially both. Hence the name, Grey in the last of his name. And he's called Jesus, which is Spanish for Jesus. Symbolism, I guess. Actually, to be fair, Jesus is one of my favorite characters, but my real favorite character are the bad guys in this one. We get this old guy, he's like, I think he owns a business or something, and he's obsessed with finding the device, the Cronos device, because essentially he wants to live forever, but it's ironic because he's lived for at least, well, he's looked for this thing for 40 years, and he's never really done anything with his life around that time. Essentially, that's the irony. He wants to find this thing that'll extend his life, but he hasn't done anything with his life. His nephew sums it up perfectly. All he just does is piss and shit. He just wants to live forever now. And let's be honest, the nephew is my favorite character, Angel. And why not? For Guillermo Del Toro's first film, it's also his first collaboration with Ron Perlman. We got a Hellboy early. Wait a minute. Angel, Hellboy? It's probably irrelevant. But I think Angel is by far my most favorite because originally he was supposed to speak full Spanish for the entire thing, but Guillermo Del Toro realized that Ron Perlman's Spanish was horrible. So he said, you know, Ron, just speak Spanish half the time, okay? And in fact, he made this character as essentially his way of saying F you to all those Americans that made Mexican stereotypes in their movies, pretty much. And I think he did a real good job. Angel is vain, he's greedy, he wants a nose job, he wants only his uncle's money. But he's also a tragic character because he only wants the no job because his uncle breaks his nose whenever he's unhappy with him. So essentially, he's a victim of abuse. And he probably would have let the grandfather and the girl go if they didn't break his nose, pretty much. But besides that, let's also talk about what I really like about this film. Even though this is like his first film and there's not really much of a budget in it, they went all out on this. I mean, my God, this is the most beautifully shot film I've ever seen, pretty much. The lighting's perfect. There's lots of new, cool and fancy camera angles. It's got just the most brilliant movements. I love it. And if I had to sum up basically what I like about this film and what I might not like about this film, well, it is a bit slow in some areas, and I think some of the symbolism is a little bit on the nose, especially with time and the Catholicism. But that doesn't bug me because for the first time filmmaking experience for Guillermo Del Toro, he really went all out on this, and I really do think that this is one of his best films, and I love almost all of his work pretty much. And it's a pretty decent vampire film too. So, if I had to give it a rating, I'd give it a, let's say, an 8 out of 10. Well, it's starting to pour a little, and I have to go to bed, so I'm gonna say adios, guys. Oh, you're still here. Well, if you are here, you might as well, if you want, you can check out some of our stuff on our website. Right here's our review of some other media that we've done involving vampires and what have you. There's a link right there for, what was that movie now? It was, oh yeah, it's our Phantom of the Opera movie with Robert Englund. And if you want, we are on Patreon, so if you want, you can support us through there, through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or any of the other sites. And well, that's all, folks. Have a nice day.